I'm Colin Newbold. I'm the founder of TLC Online and the chief architect of the Click 360 brand. So my company's been involved with 360-degree feedback since the start of the millennium. We've got a lot of customer experience and a lot of data to draw on. Now, you are an experienced HR or L&D manager, and you're pretty sure that 360-degree feedback is the way to go. Maybe you've used it already, and you can see the potential. But you've got limited resources. You're stretched almost to twang, yet you still believe this is the one investment the organisation cannot afford to pass up. Despite all that, though, you face a senior management team that is at best sceptical when it comes to the value of developing its leaders, and at worst sees training as, some sort of activity reserved for knowledge and maybe skills development, or maybe to address regulatory or compliance issues. They still see this kind of development as the soft stuff, whereas you and I both know that this really is more like the tough stuff.
These are the 10 reasons to support a 360 implementation that we're going to cover on this short vlog. All of these are in some ways linked. They form a three-dimensional matrix that means that the sum is greater than the parts. They are independently vital, but together they form an interdependence that forces a significant uplift in business results. Of course, if the senior team really believes that business results will improve by some margin as a direct result of 360, then they will support your efforts to implement it. They will make the resources available. So here's your sales pitch. Let's take each of these in turn. Whether you've got one leader or 10 leaders going through 360-degree feedback, the whole point is it's personal. The outcome is personal. It's bespoke. It's tailored. The 360 focuses on them, their levels of self-awareness, and the impact of their behaviour on others. And so is the action plan. Better still if you can run to the cost of a coach that works with each one to embed the learning and to support their development journey. It takes 100 days to change a behaviour, the psychologists tell us. So 360 is legitimately all about me. Why are we focusing on development as a reason for gaining senior management buy-in for 360? Because we need to separate 360 from performance assessment or performance management. For 360 to be most effective, it should be distanced as far away as possible from assessment measures. It shouldn't even be part of the performance appraisal process. It might inform the appraisal, to some extent that's inevitable, but it should be divorced from that process. Even consider running it at a different time of year. And don't even think about using it to fix a poor manager or a dysfunctional leader. There are other mechanisms to deal with that. The 360 report should be owned by the participant. That's the person whose report it will be, the subject, the person at the centre of the 360. They should be encouraged to share the report, especially with their line manager and of course with the coach if they have one. But it is their report. It may be paid for by the organisation, but it doesn't belong to the organisation. The senior management needs to trust that by developing leaders individually, they in turn develop the organisation. What do we mean by the how? Well, most objectives focus on the what, the task, the outcome, the destination. But 360 is a behavioural questionnaire. Whatever the questions, they are about how something is done or achieved. That's why it's generally easier for raters or respondents, the people providing feedback, to contribute, because they have observed the participant behaving in that way, or not. And very often it is how something is done or said that makes the difference in whether people follow the leader or not. The how can be a real motivator, especially when the work itself is not very inspiring. The opposite is also true, of course. The how, if done really badly, can be a huge turn-off. By defining the way you want things done around your organisation, you slowly change the culture. Because a 360 touches so many people throughout an organisation, and even a few outside of the organisation, the questionnaire itself is reinforcing what finished looks like. Senior managers are always crying out for measurables, so give them some. 360-degree feedback results in lots of graphs, bar charts and numerical tables. Never mind that it's subjective, it's a collection of people's perceptions. It's measurable. After a few cohorts have been through, your provider should be able to give you organisational insights, OI, that show your strongest competencies or behaviours and those that need developing. Maybe the data will highlight an organisation-wide development opportunity. These organisational insights will provide rich data that can inform your succession plans and your general talent management processes. Repeat 360s within 18 months will show individual and organisational progress. There's not too many L&D initiatives that can be so closely monitored. Self-awareness is an immediate byproduct of 360-degree feedback. Would it help the organisation to have leaders and managers who are self-aware? If you're familiar with the concept of emotional intelligence, or EI, you'll know that much of it is to do with how self-aware the leader or the manager is. And EI is increasingly being cited as the missing ingredient in so many leaders' capabilities. Many leaders are too dismissive of EI, or they're just too arrogant to accept its value. Whatever the questionnaire being used, 360 allows you to get in through the back door, so to speak. Being more self-aware opens up new learning opportunities for leaders and managers. They recognise that they are all work in progress. Every day is a school day. Why does 360 make leaders and managers more accountable? Firstly, they get involved in selecting the people they want feedback from, or at least they should do. This immediately increases their accountability to those people for something to come out of it. Why would a feedback provider give up their time to help the 360 participant unless they felt there was something in it for them too? It's all about me, remember? So if I'm going to enter into this process, I want to see a result personally. I'm going to analyse the results. I'm going to gain endorsements and acknowledgements around my strengths and maybe get some clarity on areas for development. I'm then going to build an action plan around it and undertake the necessary development activities. I own my report. If it's to be, it's up to me. And if you implement 360 following our guidelines, you'll encourage those 360 participants to check out their feedback with selected raters and to check back in again in 3 months or so to see what they've noticed. Can't get much more accountable than that. What do we mean by dialogue? Why would that be a reason for the exec team to buy into the concept of 360? I once heard the global VP for Learning and Development inside one of the world's largest pharmaceutical companies say that having analysed hundreds and hundreds of performance appraisal results, no matter where she was in the world, you could distill the essence of what wasn't working to the quality of the conversations that were taking place, or that weren't taking place. The dialogue was generally non-existent or of a poor quality. Poor performance was often being brushed under the carpet, or difficult conversations were happening, but they were being done so badly that people were left feeling bruised and wounded. 360-degree feedback starts promoting dialogue through the written word in the many comments that are given in participant reports under headings like does well or could do differently. Again, if you implement 360 following our guidelines, you'll encourage those 360 participants to check out their feedback with selected raters and to check back in again in 3 months or so. Now we're talking verbal dialogue. Verbal feedback becomes accepted, both giving and receiving. This can change a culture in a really good way. A lot of organisations we work with are in the process of building or refreshing their competency frameworks, and very often that is driven by the need to weave into those frameworks the golden thread of organisational values. This is a fundamental part of the organisation's strategy. It's already got the attention of the senior management team. Once those values are integrated, senior managers want them promoted in every way possible and at every opportunity. What better way to embed those values than by building your 360 questionnaire around them? Because the questionnaire touches so many corners of your organisation, right down to individual contributors who are providing feedback to their managers, those values are being reinforced as raters read them and think about the person they are rating in that context. And if your rater categories include external partners or customers and key stakeholders, you are effectively advertising what you stand for to those groups as they interact with your 360 questionnaires. Can you see how a 360 properly implemented will bring down the silos that may be operating within your organisation? That's got to be welcomed by your exec team, hasn't it? 360-degree feedback asks the participant to select feedback providers from several rater categories, including peers and usually other key stakeholders. If your 360 implementations follow our guidelines about verbal invitation conversations, then some of those barriers are coming down even before the first email goes out. Asking someone from either of those groups to contribute to your feedback is a very collaborative thing to do, them providing the feedback even more so. Generous too. And very often it's reciprocated in a subsequent cohort where the roles are reversed. Introducing the checking out and checking in processes into your implementations will further strengthen these relationships. And what about the relationships closer to home with your manager, with your direct reports? 360 is a massive relationship builder and can be the real catalyst to understanding why someone hasn't gelled with you up until now, which gives you the option to make that different. You're accountable for that. Does 360 really improve business results? Well, we would say that, wouldn't we? Well, here's the thing. If 360 implementations could be tied directly to business results, in other words, the case for return on investment could be proven, do you think that at least one person in that exec team might be interested? Out of all 10 reasons that we've offered, might this ultimately be the one that sells it for you? Okay, try this. Here's a really simple mission for you. Type into your favourite search engine the words, "Can 360-degree feedback improve business results?" ? You can even open up another tab while this video is playing and do it. In less than a second, your search engine will likely return between 1 and 2 million results. Now go beyond all the paid-for ads and just look for independent research. I promise you it won't take you many seconds to find it. In case you're not doing this as I'm speaking to you, here's a list of journal references I found on the internet. I promise you this is just scratching the surface. 1 hour of your own research will flag up sufficient metrics that were improved by 360 to melt the heart of even the hardest-nosed business person. And the other important benefit about doing this is that it will also reveal a lot of the pitfalls to avoid. 360 is not all plain sailing. Of course, there is a downside to this, but that only applies to me and my company. Doing research like this will also reveal a number of our key competitors. Well, you know what? So be it. We stand or fall on the quality of our product, our people, our service, and above all, what our clients say about us. You can check all that out on our website. Click -360.com or contact us for more information using the details on screen. Be sure to watch out for the sequel to this vlog, which looks into some of the factors we investigate when checking out a prospective buying organisation's readiness for 360-degree feedback. I encourage you to offer your comments, your questions and your suggestions below. Meantime, thank you for watching.